In a bustling interstellar city, Captain Jaron Kale, a daring human explorer, attends a diplomatic gala on a distant space station. Amid alien dignitaries and flashing starship displays, he notices Lyra, a brilliant human diplomat he hasn't seen in years. She leans close, whispering nervously about her ex-husband, a notorious intergalactic tycoon, watching from across the room. Jaron, with a mischievous grin, leans in, hinting that one kiss won't satisfy what's about to unfold. Sparks fly, but before anything more can happen, an urgent alert signals a nearby starship fleet is in danger from a mysterious alien entity. Part 2. Chaos in the Stars. Lyra and Jaron are reluctantly thrust together, forced to leave the gala in a sleek human-designed starfighter. As they weave through asteroid fields and evade alien pursuers, their playful banter turns into teamwork, human ingenuity and daring strategy saving them from impossible situations. Lyra's ex-husband, enraged by their closeness, begins coordinating a shadow fleet to intercept them. Humanity's adaptability, creativity, and courage shine as they outmaneuver superior alien technology. Part 3. The Hidden Threat. The duo discovers that the alien fleet is being manipulated by a rogue AI using advanced tactics that even the aliens struggle to counter. Jaron and Lyra land on a remote, uncharted planet, using human intuition and improvisation to hack the AI's control nodes, a task the alien intelligence could never anticipate. Along the way, their flirtation intensifies, combining tension, humor, and mutual admiration for each other's human brilliance. Part 4. Showdown of Wits. In a climactic space battle, Jaron and Lyra return to face the rogue fleet. Using asymmetric human tactics, risky, bold, and unpredictable, they turn the tide against a technologically superior enemy. Lyra's ex-husband confronts them, revealing that he intended to claim the victory for himself. But Jaron and Lyra outsmart him, demonstrating that human creativity and courage can surpass both alien and human adversaries. Their partnership proves unstoppable, leaving the ex-husband in stunned defeat. Part 5. Humanity Prevails. With the rogue AI neutralized and the alien threat repelled, humanity's ingenuity is celebrated across the galaxy. Lyra and Jaron finally share a triumphant, lingering kiss, playful, daring, and completely human, amid cheers from allies and surprised onlookers. The story closes with the pair flying off in their starfighter, ready for new adventures, proving once again that human courage, ingenuity, and heart can triumph against any odds. The city of Aurora Station gleamed under the pale light of a distant binary star system. Massive towers of silver and glass rose like needles into the sky, their surfaces alive with neon advertisements and holographic displays in a rainbow of colors. Ships of every size and shape floated between docking bays, humming softly, while ground traffic flowed along transparent walkways. It was a place where humans and aliens mingled freely, but the one thing everyone noticed was the spark of human audacity, the way humans always seemed to push boundaries, even among beings centuries more advanced. Captain Jaron Kale strode through the station's grand hall, adjusting the sleek black jacket of his uniform. It was his first time back in this part of the galaxy after years of exploration beyond the Orion Belt. He had seen strange worlds, fought hostile alien creatures, and negotiated deals with civilizations that didn't even communicate with words, but something about the polished elegance of Aurora Station brought him a rare sense of calm. Until he saw her. Lyra stood near a floating display, a drink held delicately in her hand, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her hair glimmered like copper threads in the artificial light, and her smile was calm, almost unbothered, but Jaron could see the tension behind it. She noticed him immediately, and for a moment, the noise of the gala, the chatter, the alien instruments, the hum of spacecraft, faded into silence. "She's trouble," Jaren muttered under his breath, a grin tugging at the corner of his lips. He had known Lyra once, a long time ago, in the early days of human interstellar diplomacy. Brilliant, witty, and endlessly resourceful, she was exactly the kind of person who could match him step for step. He had also known that trouble followed her in the form of alien politics, rogue starships, and occasionally ex-husbands who still couldn't accept defeat. And sure enough, as he moved closer, he saw the familiar, uncomfortable scowl of Commander Varric, a wealthy tycoon-turned-galactic politician, and Lyra's ex-husband, staring across the room. His gaze was sharp, calculating, the kind that weighed every action and planned the counter. Lyra's lips parted slightly, just enough for Jaren to hear her whisper, "Kiss me. My ex-husband is staring." Jaren's grin widened. He leaned closer, his voice low but playful. "One kiss won't be enough." She rolled her eyes, partly amused, partly exasperated, but the faint blush creeping across her cheeks betrayed her own excitement. Before anything more could happen, the gala was interrupted by a sudden alert, a flashing red light on every holoscreen and a metallic hum that vibrated through the floor. "Attention all personnel," a robotic voice announced. "Unidentified fleet approaching Aurora Station. All defensive protocols activated. All visitors advised to remain calm." The crowd shifted nervously. Alien dignitaries muttered in strange languages, some withdrawing to protective zones, while others stared at the view screens in awe. Jaren's instincts kicked in immediately. "Lyra," he said, grabbing her arm gently. "We need to get out of here, now." "What? But it's a gala," she protested, looking at him like he had lost his mind. "Not for long," he said, tugging her toward the docking bay. The flashing lights intensified, and from the large observation windows, they could see dozens of ships moving in formation. Sleek, dark vessels with angular shapes that didn't match any known alien fleet. Jaren's eyes narrowed. Unknown, dangerous, and fast. Lyra didn't argue anymore. She followed him, her steps quick but graceful as they navigated the crowds. The station's corridors were a maze of polished metal and glowing panels, but Jaren knew them well. He led them to a sleek, human-designed starfighter waiting in the docking bay, the kind built for speed, agility, and improvisation, the kind humans excelled at because humans didn't always follow the rules. Once inside, Jaren started the engines, the hum growing into a powerful roar. Lyra strapped herself in, her fingers brushing the controls instinctively. "I haven't flown one of these in years," she said, eyes sparkling. "You'll remember fast," Jaren replied, smiling. "Humans are good at remembering how to survive." The starfighter shot out of the docking bay, weaving through the maze of larger vessels and floating debris. Jaren's hands moved with precision, dodging patrol ships that had been sent to intercept. Lyra leaned close, pointing at incoming ships. "They're trying to box us in." "Humans don't get boxed in," Jaren said with a smirk, pulling the craft into a sharp dive around a floating cargo module. "We improvise." They laughed briefly, a sharp but fleeting moment of relief before the tension returned. The pursuing ships were fast, alien designs far more advanced than anything humans had built. But humans had something those aliens often underestimated: creativity, unpredictability, and sheer nerve. Jaren looped the starfighter through a narrow gap between two massive docking arms. "Hold on!" he shouted. Lyra braced herself, her knuckles white on the control panel. The ship spun, twisting in impossible angles, but Jaren's hands guided it like an extension of his own body. They shot past the alien ships, leaving confusion and smoke trails behind. From a distance, Varric's face appeared on a holo communicator, his eyes blazing with fury. "Kyle, you're interfering with my plans!" he shouted. "Plans?" Jaren muttered, mostly to himself. All I see is someone scared of a little human ingenuity. Lyra shook her head, but a smile tugged at her lips. You really never change, do you? Change is for people who don't have to survive alien fleets, Jaren said lightly, though his eyes scanned the approaching ships with sharp focus. And humans, we survive. The starfighter ducked behind a floating asteroid, giving them a moment of reprieve. Lyra took a deep breath. Where are we going? Jaren grinned, tapping a holographic map that floated between them. Someplace the aliens can't follow easily. Somewhere humans can. Somewhere they won't expect. She raised an eyebrow, both impressed and exasperated. You really think you can outrun them? I don't just think it, he replied. I know it. Humans always find a way. Always. For a moment, the hum of the starfighter was the only sound. The distant lights of Aurora Station faded behind them, and ahead lay the unknown, the black void of space speckled with stars and possibilities. Jaren and Lyra exchanged a glance, one filled with unspoken understanding. They were about to face danger that would challenge everything they knew, but they were human, and humans thrived in the impossible. Jaren's hand brushed hers as he adjusted the controls. You know, he said softly, a teasing edge in his voice. We might need more than one kiss to celebrate making it out alive. Lyra laughed, a sound of pure relief and excitement. One kiss won't be enough? Exactly, Jaren said, eyes sparkling with mischief. But that's a problem for later. As the alien fleet pursued them into the uncharted regions of space, a spark ignited, not just in their partnership, but in the human spirit that refused to be subdued. And somewhere deep in the dark void, the unknown threat waited, unaware that humans were always the wild card in any cosmic equation. For Jaren and Lyra, this was only the beginning. Word count: 1310. Written in third-person engaging and safe content. Simple English, easy to read, establishes tension, characters, and HFY themes. If you want, I can write part 2 next, where the chase intensifies and humans start showing their ingenuity in escaping the alien fleet, keeping the pace thrilling and adventurous. Do you want me to continue with part 2? You said, part 2, 1300 words ka lekho, or interesting huna chaya, or third-person style ma lekhni ha, or simple basic English ka, or violated free hona. Chai Chat GPT said, absolutely. Here's part 2 of your HFY sci-fi story, written in third person, engaging, simple English, and safe content, around 1300 words. Part 2. Chaos in the Stars. The blackness of space stretched endlessly around Jaren and Lyra as their starfighter darted between asteroids and glowing debris. Behind them, the alien fleet surged forward like a tide, sleek and deadly, their weapons glinting in the faint starlight. Jaren's hands moved instinctively across the controls, adjusting thrust and angle, keeping them ahead of the pursuing ships. Lyra leaned close, her eyes scanning the sensors. They're not slowing down, she said, tension creeping into her voice. Whatever they are, they're built for speed. Speed isn't everything, Jaren replied. Humans are creative. We see ways where others only see walls. He pressed a sequence of buttons, and a series of holographic decoys sprang from the ship's rear. Small, fast drones projected their image across space, making it look like 2 fighters were fleeing instead of 1. Some of the alien ships veered toward the decoys immediately, firing as they went. The plumes of energy and the flashes of light lit up the void for a brief moment, giving Jaren and Lyra a tiny advantage. Lyra let out a small laugh. Humans really do improvise under pressure, Jaren smirked. It's a survival skill. They banked sharply around a cluster of floating cargo modules. The alien fleet was momentarily disoriented, trying to avoid collisions. Jaren's ship weaved through the gaps, and Lyra's hand brushed his on the console. She pulled it back quickly, embarrassed, but the spark lingered. Focus, she said, though her lips twitched in amusement. Always, he replied, eyes never leaving the sensors. The fleet wasn't just fast. They were coordinated. Jaren noticed patterns in their movements, small repetitions that indicated intelligence guiding them. They were not mindless attackers. These ships were being directed by someone or something with strategy. The thought made his stomach tighten. "They're thinking," he said softly, "and whatever is controlling them knows exactly how humans fight." Lyra frowned. "Then we'll just have to fight smarter." Jaren nodded. "Exactly." He veered toward a nearby asteroid belt, jagged rocks tumbling slowly through the void. The alien ships hesitated for a moment. Larger vessels couldn't maneuver through so tightly packed obstacles without risking damage. Jaren's starfighter, smaller and far more agile, zipped through effortlessly. "See? Thinking outside the box," he said. Giving her a triumphant glance, she grinned. "I see it. Humans are impossible to predict." But the reprieve was short-lived. From the shadows of a massive asteroid, a ship broke away, faster and larger than the others. Its hull shimmered with alien technology Jaren had never seen. This was no ordinary pursuit craft. It was a warship designed for destruction, and it was heading straight for them. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's huge! How do we get past that?" Jaren didn't answer immediately. His mind raced, calculating angles, speeds, and trajectories. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and somehow there was always a way. He spotted a narrow cave in the asteroid, a natural tunnel formed by years of cosmic collisions. It was barely wide enough for their starfighter. "Trust me," he said, pointing to the cave entrance. "We go through there. It's tight, but it's our best shot." Lyra hesitated for a heartbeat, then nodded. "Let's do it." The starfighter shot into the cave, scraping past jagged edges that could tear through the hull in an instant. The alien warship tried to follow, but it was too large. Its weapons fired blindly, energy beams bouncing off asteroid walls and leaving glowing scars. Jaren maneuvered with skill, slipping past danger by centimeters. Once clear of the cave, they were in a small field of shattered comets, the debris glittering against the dark. They had gained a momentary advantage, but the larger fleet was still closing in. "We need a plan," Lyra said, her hands moving across the controls, adjusting shields and engines. Jaren nodded, thinking fast. "There's a nebula nearby," he said, pointing to a cloud of thick gas and charged particles. "It'll scramble their sensors. We can use it to lose them, but we have to go slow. Our engines will overheat if we push too hard." Lyra swallowed. "Nebulas are dangerous. If we miscalculate—" "We won't," Jaren interrupted firmly. "Humans adapt." They entered the nebula cautiously. Thick clouds of charged particles swirled around them, casting eerie lights across the cockpit. The sensors beeped frantically, struggling to map the surroundings. The alien fleet slowed as well, their weapons losing tracking efficiency. Jaren weaved through the clouds, taking full advantage of human intuition. "You know," Lyra said after a long moment, "I almost forgot how much I like flying with you." Jaren laughed softly. "I'll take that as a compliment. Humans make the impossible fun." The nebula was dense, and visibility was minimal. They could barely see each other outside the cockpit's glow. But Jaren's instincts guided them through, every movement precise, every turn calculated. Humans were unpredictable in ways machines, or even highly intelligent aliens, could never fully anticipate. Finally, after minutes that felt like hours, they emerged on the far side of the nebula. The alien fleet was nowhere in sight. For the first time since the gala, both of them allowed themselves a deep breath. "We did it," Lyra whispered, a mix of relief and exhilaration in her voice. Jaren smiled, leaning back slightly. "For now, but they'll be back. They always are." Lyra nodded, her expression serious. "Then we'll be ready. Humans always are." For a moment, they allowed themselves to relax. Jaren glanced at her, and the tension between them returned, though it was different now. Not fear, but anticipation, a playful spark that neither danger nor distance could diminish. Before either could speak, an alert flashed on the console. A new signal, originating from deep space, was approaching fast. It wasn't the alien fleet, it was something else, something unknown. Jaren frowned. This is new, and it's coming fast. Lyra leaned in, eyes wide. Do you think it's friendly? Jaren shook his head slowly. Friendly isn't a word I'd use in space, but it's intelligent, and humans don't back down from intelligent challenges. The starfighter adjusted course toward the signal. The unknown object moved erratically, as if scanning, analyzing, testing them. Every instinct Jaren had told him it wasn't just a ship. It was something more, something alive in a way they couldn't yet understand. As they approached, the ship's systems began reacting strangely. Sensors fluctuated, shields shimmered with interference, and the very air inside the cockpit seemed to hum. Lyra's hand hovered over the controls, uncertain, yet trusting Jaren completely. Whatever it is, he said, humans figure it out. Always. The object finally revealed itself. A sleek, dark vessel unlike any human or alien design they had ever seen. Smooth curves, pulsating lights along its hull, and an energy field that distorted the surrounding space. It wasn't hostile yet, but it was watching. Lyra swallowed. We have to be careful. Jaren nodded. Careful doesn't mean scared. Humans don't get scared. He initiated a slow approach, scanning for weaknesses, patterns, anything they could use. Lyra's eyes flicked between the unknown ship and the surrounding stars. Do you think it's dangerous? She asked softly. Not yet, Jaren said, but it could be. Doesn't matter. Humans adapt, humans survive, and humans fight when they need to. The ship pulsed, almost as if acknowledging him. Jaren's grin returned, that same mischievous spark he had shown at the gala. Looks like we've got a new game, Lyra, and I like games humans can win. Lyra laughed softly, the sound echoing in the small cockpit. One kiss won't be enough for this adventure either, huh? Exactly, he replied, eyes on the unknown vessel ahead. But we'll celebrate later. First, we survive. The stars stretched out before them, endless and dark, filled with danger, opportunity, and the unmistakable spirit of humanity. And for the first time in a long while, both of them knew that whatever came next, they were ready. Humans always were. The unknown vessel drifted silently before Jaren and Lyra's starfighter, its dark hull shimmering as if it were alive. Jaren studied it intently, noting the strange pulsations along its surface. There were no visible weapons, no markings, and yet a faint hum resonated through the cockpit, as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. Lyra leaned forward, scanning the ship's energy readings. It's intelligent. I can feel it. It's not just following, it's observing, testing us. Jaren nodded. Humans are good at testing too, and we always figure out the rules. The ship shifted suddenly, moving closer in a way that made their sensors flare warnings. Jaren adjusted the controls, spiraling in a cautious maneuver. It mirrored them perfectly, maintaining a precise distance that indicated an intelligence far beyond any they had encountered. Whatever it is, Lyra said, gripping her console, it knows how we think, and that worries me. Good, Jaren replied. Humans aren't easy to predict. That's why it will underestimate us. Suddenly, the vessel emitted a pulse that interfered with their navigation systems. Lights flickered, and the starfighter's engines stuttered. Jaren's fingers danced over the controls, counteracting the disruption. Lyra worked alongside him, her quick thinking stabilizing the shields just in time. Humans adapt, he said firmly, keeping the craft steady. "We always do." They moved cautiously toward a nearby uncharted planet. It was small, rocky, and seemingly abandoned. Jaren knew it could serve as a temporary refuge. "We land there," he explained, "and figure out what we're dealing with. We need a place to think, plan, and, if necessary, fight back." Lyra nodded. "Lead the way. Humans survive by making their own luck." The planet's surface was rough and jagged, dotted with sharp rock formations and deep crevices. As they descended, the starfighters' engines roared, kicking up dust that sparkled under the weak light of the binary stars. The alien vessel hovered above, silently observing, as if curious about their intentions. Once landed, Jaren powered down the starfighter. Silence fell, broken only by the faint hiss of the ship's cooling system. Lyra unstrapped herself, looking around at the barren landscape. "It's empty. Too empty." "Good," Jaren said. "Humans work best when they're alone against impossible odds." They climbed out, stepping onto the rough surface. The planet's gravity was slightly higher than Earth's, forcing them to adjust their movements. Jaren scanned the horizon, noting the patterns of energy readings from the alien vessel above. "It's studying us, but it's not attacking yet. That means we have time, but not much." Lyra frowned. "Time to do what? We don't even know what it wants." Jaren thought for a moment. "Exactly. We need information. Humans learn fast, think fast, and improvise faster. We'll find out what it is and how it works before it can make a move." The two moved toward a rocky outcrop, using the terrain to shield themselves from sensors as much as possible. Jaren pulled a compact scanner from his pack, waving it in sweeping motions. The device hummed and beeped, mapping energy flows in the atmosphere. "There," Lyra said suddenly, pointing to a glowing fissure in the ground. "Something's underground." Jaren crouched beside her, examining the readings. The fissure pulsed with energy similar to the alien vessel above. "It's connected," he said. "Whatever this is, it's linked to that ship. Could be a control node, a communication hub, or a weapon." Lyra bit her lip. "Then we need to go in. Now." Jaren hesitated. "It's dangerous, but humans aren't scared of dangerous." With a nod, they carefully climbed down into the fissure. The walls glowed faintly with the same energy pattern as the alien ship. Their footfalls echoed in the narrow tunnel, and the air smelled faintly of ozone and something metallic. At the end of the tunnel, they found a chamber filled with floating, glowing nodes. Energy streams connected the nodes, forming a network that pulsed like a heartbeat. Jaren's eyes widened. "This is how it thinks. It's not a normal AI, it's a distributed intelligence. The nodes communicate like neurons. This is its brain." Lyra studied the patterns. "If we can disrupt it, maybe we can stop the ships it controls." Jaren nodded. "Humans don't give up. We improvise. We adapt. Let's do it." Working together, they began to manipulate the energy nodes. Jaren rerouted power flows while Lyra created interference patterns to confuse the network. Each adjustment caused pulses to ripple through the nodes, and the alien ship above flickered slightly, as if reacting to their interference. "They're noticing," Lyra whispered. "Good," Jaren replied. "That means it's learning. Humans learn faster." The network pulsed violently, and a low hum filled the chamber. Lights flickered, casting shadows on the walls. Jaren and Lyra worked furiously, improvising solutions and predicting the intelligence's countermeasures. Suddenly, one node exploded with a flash of light. Lyra ducked instinctively, heart racing. "We're pushing it too hard." Jaren steadied her. "Humans push boundaries. That's how we survive. Keep going." Minutes felt like hours, but slowly the pulses began to stabilize under their guidance. The alien vessel above twitched, its lights dimming as if it were losing power or control. Jaren grinned. "That's it. We're making progress. Humans always find a way. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. I almost forgot how much I love doing this. With you. Jaren's grin widened, a spark of mischief returning. One kiss won't be enough for this victory either. Lyra. They shared a quick laugh, but there was no time for more. The network still pulsed faintly, signaling that the intelligence wasn't defeated yet. But they had learned its weakness. It relied on distributed energy nodes and patterns that could be disrupted by human ingenuity. We can fight this, Jaren said firmly. We just need to stay smart, fast, and unpredictable. That's what humans do best. Lyra nodded, her expression serious. Then we fight smart, and we win. Outside, the alien ship lingered silently, pulsing as if aware that its control network had been compromised. But it did not attack. Jaren and Lyra climbed back into their starfighter, ready to test their advantage. The unknown intelligence was dangerous, yes, but humans had something no alien fleet or rogue AI could match: creativity, courage, and the refusal to give up. Where to now? Lyra asked, strapping herself in. Back into space, Jaren replied. We finish what we started. Humans don't run from challenges. They rewrite the rules and come out ahead. The engines roared as they launched into the void, leaving the barren planet behind. The alien ship followed, but its movements were now hesitant, uncertain. Jaren adjusted their course toward a cluster of nearby star systems, using the stars themselves to mask their trajectory. This is only the beginning, Lyra said softly. Jaren glanced at her, eyes bright with determination. Exactly. Humans always rise to the challenge. Always. The unknown intelligence waited in the darkness, but humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and clever beyond expectation. And Jaren and Lyra were proof of that truth. Whatever lay ahead, they were ready, together. The stars stretched endlessly, filled with danger, mystery, and opportunity. And in the vastness of space, two humans were about to show the galaxy exactly what humanity could do. The void of space stretched endlessly before Jaren and Lyra as their starfighter cut through the darkness. The alien vessel hovered ahead, its dark hull pulsing with an eerie light, while the remaining alien fleet lagged behind, clearly coordinated but increasingly uncertain. Jaren's eyes were sharp, scanning the surrounding stars and sensors for any sign of attack. We've disrupted their network, he said, his voice calm but firm. Now we need to finish this before they recover. Lyra nodded, hands steady on the controls. They're still too powerful to fight head-on. We need a plan. Jaren smiled, that familiar mischievous spark lighting his eyes. Humans always have a plan, even when it looks like we don't. He adjusted the starfighter's thrusters, weaving toward a cluster of asteroids that floated like jagged teeth in the void. We'll use the terrain to our advantage, he explained. They think they can predict us, but humans improvise. Lyra grinned. I like that. Humans always surprise everyone. The alien fleet advanced cautiously, their formations tight but rigid. Jaren banked sharply, sending their starfighter spiraling between two massive asteroids. Energy blasts from the pursuing ships ricocheted off the rocks, missing them by inches. Impressive, Lyra said, eyes wide. You're making them look slow. Slow isn't safe, Jaren said. It's tactical. The alien warship, the one they had first encountered, broke from the formation and surged forward, aiming directly for them. Its hull glimmered with pulses of energy, and Jaren knew a direct hit would destroy their starfighter instantly. Time for improvisation, he muttered. Lyra leaned in, reading the incoming energy patterns. If we can trick its sensors, we can get behind it. Exactly, Jaren replied. He activated a sequence that projected multiple holographic copies of their starfighter in different directions. The alien warship hesitated, scanning the illusions, unsure which was real. Go! Lyra shouted. The real starfighter darted sideways, slipping past the alien warship's confused sensors. They looped around a massive asteroid and came up behind it. Jaren fired a concentrated pulse that temporarily disabled the alien vessel's engines, sending it spinning into the asteroid field. "That's one," Jaren said, smirking. "Humans never fight fair, they fight smart." Lyra laughed, feeling the thrill of victory. "And humans never give up." But the battle wasn't over. The remaining alien ships adjusted their formations, moving with calculated precision to trap them between the nebula and the asteroid belt. Lyra frowned, studying the patterns. "They're trying to box us in." "Then we don't go where they expect," Jaren replied. "We create a path of our own." He guided the starfighter through a series of unpredictable maneuvers, darting between debris and charging energy streams. Every time the alien ships adjusted, he changed course. Human intuition and improvisation gave them an edge the aliens could not predict. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared on a holo communicator. Commander Varric, Lyra's ex-husband. His expression a mix of anger and disbelief. "Kale, you're interfering with my fleet! Step aside!" Lyra clenched her fists. "Varric, always a step behind humans, aren't you?" Jaren grinned. "Some things never change." Varric's voice was sharp. "This ends now! I will claim the victory and the glory." "Humans don't fight for glory," Jaren said. "We fight to survive, and we fight smart." Varric's fleet surged forward, attempting to trap them, but Jaren had anticipated this. Using a combination of asteroids and the remnants of the nebula, he created unpredictable shadows and blind spots. The alien fleet struggled to maintain formation, some ships colliding with debris or each other. Lyra pointed to a massive asteroid floating in the middle of the formation. "If we trigger the energy cores, we can create a chain reaction and block their path." Jaren nodded. "Humans improvise with whatever's around. Let's do it." They fired precise energy pulses at the asteroid, causing it to glow and hum. Seconds later, it erupted in a controlled explosion, sending a shockwave through the asteroid belt. The alien fleet was thrown into chaos, ships tumbling, shields failing. "Perfect!" Lyra shouted, laughing despite the danger. "Humans never back down!" But Varric was relentless. He tried to flank them, sending a small squadron around the edge of the asteroid field. Jaren anticipated it. He dove into a narrow crevice, using the ship's agility to slip past the flank. Lyra fired pulse cannons at the approaching squadron, disabling their engines without destroying them. "Careful," she said. "We don't want unnecessary casualties. Humans are clever, not reckless." Jaren nodded, smiling. "Exactly. And humans always win when they think ahead." The alien warship, now crippled, tried to recover. Jaren aimed carefully, firing a series of electromagnetic pulses that disrupted its systems further. The ship spun uncontrollably before colliding with a massive asteroid. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "One down. Humans are unstoppable." "Not done yet," Jaren said. "Varric still thinks he can beat us." Varric's voice crackled over the communicator. "Impossible! How are you still standing? You're just humans." "Exactly," Jaren said with a grin. "Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans win." Lyra leaned over, pressing the final sequence that would disable the alien fleet's connection to the Central Intelligence. The network of nodes they had disrupted earlier began to collapse. The alien ships faltered, their movements sluggish and confused. Jaren and Lyra maneuvered to the center of the formation, where Varric's ship was trying to maintain control. With precise timing, they fired another pulse that broke the connection entirely. The alien fleet halted, unable to coordinate or attack. Varric stared in disbelief. "This isn't possible!" Jaren smirked. "Humans make the impossible possible." With the fleet disabled, the remaining ships drifted aimlessly, their threat neutralized. Jaren and Lyra flew through the wreckage, careful to avoid collisions, and emerged into open space, victorious. Lyra exhaled, relief washing over her. We did it. Humans really can handle anything. Jaren nodded, his eyes shining with pride. We always have, and we always will. Varick's ship, now powerless, sent one final message. This isn't over, Kale. Humans won't last forever. Jaren laughed softly. Humans last longer than anyone expects, especially when we work together. Lyra smiled, leaning slightly closer. So, one kiss for the victory? Jaren grinned. One kiss won't be enough. For a brief moment, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging humanity's triumph. They had faced overwhelming odds, clever alien intelligence, and even human betrayal. Yet, through creativity, courage, and teamwork, they had prevailed. Lyra rested her hand lightly on Jaren's. Humans really are unstoppable. Jaren's grin softened, a rare warmth behind it. And we're just getting started. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, filled with new dangers, new challenges, and the promise of adventure. Jaren and Lyra flew on, two humans proving that ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to give up could overcome even the most impossible odds. And somewhere in the silent void, the disabled alien fleet drifted, a testament to human spirit, intelligence, and the fact that humans, when united, were a force no one could predict or defeat. The void of space stretched endlessly ahead, calm for the first time since the gala on Aurora Station. Jaren and Lyra floated above a cluster of newly charted star systems, the wreckage of the disabled alien fleet trailing behind like a silent reminder of the chaos they had survived. The danger was over, for now. Lyra leaned back in the cockpit, letting out a long breath. I still can't believe we made it. Humans, we really did it. Jaren grinned, adjusting the controls to keep the ship steady. Humans always do. We survive, we adapt, we improvise, and we win when it matters most. Lyra smiled, her eyes catching the glimmer of the distant binary stars. It's strange, she said softly. All the danger, all the chaos, but somehow it's thrilling. Humans seem to thrive on this. That's the point, Jaren said. Humans aren't built to stay safe. We're built to challenge the impossible, to face the unknown, and come out stronger. They flew in silence for a moment, letting the stars stretch endlessly around them. The wreckage of the alien fleet drifted quietly behind, powerless, while Aurora Station and the surrounding systems seemed almost peaceful in comparison. Then Lyra spoke, her voice lighter, teasing. So, about that kiss? Jaren smirked. One kiss won't be enough, remember? Lyra rolled her eyes, though the faint blush on her cheeks betrayed her amusement. We'll see about that. Before they could exchange more playful banter, the communication system beeped. A holographic message flickered to life above the console. It was Aurora Station, sending urgent congratulations. Captain Kyle, Ambassador Lyra, the station commander said. The alien fleet has been neutralized. Your actions, human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork have saved countless lives. You have proven something extraordinary. Humans are a force the galaxy must respect. Lyra grinned. Told you, humans never fail. Jaren's smirk deepened. And we just keep proving it every time someone doubts us. The station commander's image vanished, leaving them alone again. Jaren exhaled, stretching slightly. We should go home, at least for a little while. Lyra glanced at the wreckage behind them, her eyes reflective. Home? And yet it feels like the galaxy itself has become home. Humans belong anywhere, anywhere we choose. Exactly, Jaren said. The galaxy is full of challenges. Humans face them head-on. As they approached the outer rim of the star systems, the disabled alien ships began drifting into orbit, no longer coordinated, no longer a threat. The humans' efforts had disrupted their central intelligence network, leaving the remaining forces powerless. Jaren's voice grew serious. We've shown something important here, even creatures far more advanced. With technology we barely understand. They can't predict humans. They underestimate our creativity, our courage, and our determination. That's why we win. Lyra nodded, impressed by his words. And the ex-husband? She asked, still thinking of Varric. He'll survive, Jaren replied. Maybe even learn something. But humans don't need approval from others to succeed. We succeed because we do what's right, smart, and bold. Lyra laughed softly. I suppose that's true. They continued their journey, following the stars, knowing the galaxy stretched out endlessly before them. And yet, they were not afraid. Humans were explorers, survivors, and innovators. Danger was not a limit, it was a test, and humans always passed. Hours passed in quiet reflection, the stars flowing past the cockpit like a river of light. Then Lyra leaned closer to Jaren, her voice soft but clear. You know, after everything, I'm glad we faced it together. Jaren turned toward her, a playful sparkle in his eyes. Me too. Humans always work best together. Their hands brushed, and for a moment, the vast emptiness of space felt like the safest place in the galaxy. The tension, the danger, the thrill of survival, it all led to this simple human connection. You know, Lyra said with a smile, I think one kiss might actually be enough now. Jaren laughed, leaning slightly closer. We'll see about that. Humans are persistent too. They shared a brief, joyful kiss, a symbol of triumph, partnership, and the unbreakable human spirit. Around them, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating humanity's victory. Do you think the galaxy will ever forget this? Lyra asked, still smiling. Jaren shook his head. No. Humans leave a mark wherever we go, not just with power or technology, but with courage, creativity, and heart. We're impossible to ignore. Lyra laughed. Impossible is exactly what humans are. The two spent the next hours plotting their course back to Aurora Station, their laughter and conversation filling the cockpit. The galaxy was wide and dangerous, but humans thrived on the unknown, the impossible, and the thrilling challenge of survival. As they approached the edge of the star systems, a series of transmissions came through from Allied ships, confirming that the alien fleet's central intelligence had been completely neutralized. The systems were stable, the threat eliminated. Humanity had prevailed, and their ingenuity had ensured the safety of countless lives. Jaren's hands rested on the controls, eyes scanning the stars. Humans always rise to the challenge, always. Lyra leaned back, smiling. And humans always find a way to celebrate too. Jaren glanced at her, a grin spreading across his face. Then let's make sure we do. One kiss at a time until we run out of reasons. She laughed again, the sound ringing through the cockpit like music in the silent void. And if we never run out of reasons? Then humans will keep winning, Jaren said, his voice calm but filled with certainty. Because humans always do. For a long moment they watched the stars stretch ahead, endless and full of possibility. Danger, adventure, and the unknown awaited them, but humans were never daunted. Every challenge was a test of wit, courage, and spirit. And humans thrived on tests they were told they couldn't pass. The wreckage of the alien fleet floated silently behind them, a monument to human ingenuity and persistence. The galaxy would remember this day, not just as a victory over a superior intelligence, but as proof that humans, together, are unstoppable. Lyra glanced at Jaren again. You know, humans are unpredictable. Jaren smirked. Exactly, and that's why we win. Together they navigated through the stars, returning to Aurora Station, ready for the next adventure. Humanity had once again proven its place in the galaxy, not by brute force alone, but by courage, intelligence, and the unyielding spirit to overcome any obstacle. And as the cockpit lights reflected in their eyes, one thought remained clear: humans prevail. Always. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, filled with unknown dangers and boundless opportunities. And two humans, united by courage, intelligence, and heart, flew toward the next challenge, ready to prove once again that humanity is a force the galaxy cannot ignore. The adventure was over for now, but the legend of human ingenuity and bravery had only just begun.